Family Guy is one of the most famous animated sitcoms ever made. It was created by Seth MacFarlane in 1999 and was cancelled by Fox in 2002, another brilliant move by them. However, due to high DVD sales and favorable reviews of its reruns, the show was revived in 2005 and has now hit 14 seasons. I've said this about Ed, Edd and Eddy, that any good show running for roughly a decade is bound to have a few bad episodes. Family Guy, however, has had more than a couple. Like SpongeBob SquarePants, it's gone from being one of the most beloved television shows ever made to being one of the most annoying, offensive, sickening, and downright overstayed shows on television today. Family Guy used to be a great show, and its earlier episodes are still fantastic. But good fucking god, what the hell happened to it? Its episodes have gone from being enjoyably creative and well written to just being offensive and or boring. But which episodes are the worst of the worst? Well, I'm going to count down my personal top 10 most hated episodes. I just want to state for the record that I have not yet seen seasons 13 or 14 of Family Guy, so I may end up doing solo reviews on those episodes if I feel they're bad enough to have been on this list. Anyway, let's get started. Enjoy! Number 10. Life of Brian. Now, it's not on the list for the reasons you'd assume. I fucking hate Brian. With a passion. I was actually happy to hear he was the one who was getting killed off. What shocked me was the backlash he got from people who most of the time were bitching about what an asshole Brian was to begin with. Some people who I know personally who are big Family Guy fans that always complained about Brian were posting "Rest in peace Brian" and "Family Guy, how could you kill off Brian?" all over Facebook when he died. I just don't get it. I really don't. In this episode, after many close calls with death from time traveling, Stewie destroys his time machine shortly before Brian is hit by a car and killed. Unable to cope with the loss, Stewie tries to rebuild the time machine only to find out that an important item he needs is now extinct. Trying to find some way to cope with the pain, the Griffins get a new dog, which, in all honesty, is a good portrayal of how most families would act when a pet they had for a long time dies. Stewie, of course, doesn't like this and resents the new dog, only to find out that the new dog himself is going through what Stewie went through.
Anyway, I guess Leo was kind of like my Brian.
Well, so how'd you get over him?
Well, I met your family in the pet store. When I saw you guys looking for a dog, I kind of sensed you all going through the same feelings of loss that I was. And it made me think, hey, maybe I was meant to find these guys. Maybe we were meant to be together.
You know what, Vinny? I'm starting to think that may be true.
Now, what's wrong with this episode? It killed off one of my least favorite characters and it even managed to do a lot of things right. So, where's the issue? Well, there are two big issues I have with it. One is that this episode is nothing more than one gigantic ratings trap. Literally 2 episodes after this one aired, they copped out and brought Brian back anyway. So there was literally no point to this episode being made other than to bring in Paulie from The Sopranos for a few episodes. The other issue I have with it is that this episode tries too hard to bring sympathy back to Brian. Brian had quickly become a public enemy to fans of Family Guy. He was a bigoted, loudmouth, hypocritical horn dog whose sole purpose had basically become to cause controversy and drama, and Family Guy themselves touched on that before killing him off.
And I think what I hate most about you is your textbook liberal agenda. How we should legalize pot, man. How big business is crushing the underclass. How homelessness is the biggest tragedy in America. Well, what have you done to help? I work down at the soup kitchen, Brian. Never seen you down there. You want to help? Grab a ladle. And by the way, driving a Prius doesn't make you Jesus Christ. Oh, wait, you don't believe in Jesus Christ, or any religion for that matter, because religion is for idiots. Well, who the hell are you to talk down to anyone? You failed college twice, which isn't nearly as bad as your failure as a father. How's that son of yours you never see?
So it just felt like a feeble effort to restore sympathy and compassion to a character who no longer deserved it. And because of that, I consider it one of the worst episodes of Family Guy.
You've given me a wonderful life. I love you all.
Oh, shut up.
Number 9.
Damn it!
Not All Dogs Go to Heaven. Yeah, we all knew this one was going to be on the list. Like I said, Brian seemed to only be around to cause controversy, and he did just that in this episode. When Meg gets the mumps and is laid up in bed, Peter brings in an old TV that only has one channel on it. So she's stuck watching Kirk Cameron talk about God and becomes a Christian.
I was made well by the hand of God. This is the day that the Lord hath made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.
There's the clicker. No one would blame you.
Peter, that's the first bit of genius I've ever heard you give. When Meg tries to get the family to start going to church, Brian declines, saying he's an atheist, much to everyone's surprise.
I mean, an atheist? That's just about the worst thing a person can be.
You're not gonna get anything for Christmas, Brian!
Guys, I'm just trying to say...
Shut up, beast! I have dominion over you, and I command you to believe in God!
I'm sorry, I just don't see any evidence.
First off, anyone's religious beliefs are completely irrelevant to this episode, because it's already been established that Jesus is real in this universe. Secondly, Brian actually met Jesus a few episodes before this episode aired. He straight up watched Jesus perform miracles despite being skeptical, and he has the balls to say there's no scientific proof that God exists? On top of that, not one character says to him, "Brian, you stupid idiot. You met Jesus. He was in your house, for Christ's sakes. What more do you need?" Not to mention, Brian himself put together that God was cursing the Griffin household in the episode If I'm Dying, I'm Lying, after Peter portrays himself like a godlike figure.
But there's gotta be an explanation for all this.
You want an explanation? God is pissed.
Now suddenly, he's an atheist, and says there's never been any evidence. Once again, showing that there's no continuity in Family Guy. Anyway, with all that out of the way, let's get to the real issues with this episode. After the whole town hears about Brian being an atheist, he becomes public enemy number 1 to the town, and is denied access to practically all bars in town. I may not like Brian, but even I didn't support what the townspeople were doing to him. I really don't believe that Brian is the only atheist in town either, and I don't see why he gets treated like he's Hitler for having different beliefs. Of course, Brian lies and says he's found God, probably the only time I ever understood why Brian was lying, and Meg takes him to a book burning. Appalled by this, Brian tries to talk Meg out of her beliefs by saying this.
If there were a God, would he have put you here on Earth with a flat chest and a fat ass?
I'm made in his image.
Really? Would he give you a smoking hot mom like Lois and then have you grow up looking like Peter?
Well...
And what kind of God would put you in a house where no one respects or cares about you, not even enough to get you a damn mumps shot?
Oh no. You're right, Brian.
This is what makes this episode so infamous. Brian is basically saying that there isn't a God because Meg is ugly and her family hates her, and no God would ever allow that. That's probably the biggest slap in the face to Christians you can ever give, and it really highlights how poorly the writers of Family Guy argue things that they have no idea about. And despite all of this controversy, it's only my number 9 worst Family Guy episode. Oh, this is not gonna be fun. Number 8.
Damn it!
Play it again, Brian. In this episode, Brian wins a writing contest, winning him a trip to Martha's Vineyard, and is overly anxious to show Lois it. Yeah, it's one of those episodes where Brian is suddenly trying his hardest to get Lois to fuck him completely out of the blue. Well, this episode is going to try extra hard to get you to root for Brian, because Peter is going to be betrayed as the negligent husband who doesn't deserve her. Okay, well, it's going to be stronger than usual anyway, as Peter keeps forgetting arrangements he's made with his wife and keeps bailing on her, leaving her angry. Brian suggests they go to Martha's Vineyard with him to, as he puts it, watch him accept his award.
Why don't you come out to Martha's Vineyard and watch me accept my award?
I'll start packing.
What the fuck was that about? Okay, back to the review. Peter and Lois decide to ask Herbert the pervert to babysit the kids, which, I will admit, is actually pretty funny.
No cussing, clean your plates, and only a half hour of radio, and then it's off to bed.
Well, that sucks.
And don't you mouth off to me, or I'm gonna slap you right in your penis.
While waiting for Brian to accept his award, Peter once again skips out and comes in later completely hammered, once again infuriating Lois. See, Peter is a thoughtless dick for sure, but even this is too over the top. It's clear the episode is trying extra hard to make you hate Peter so you'll end up rooting for Brian. But that fails miserably because Brian makes it clear that he's intending to steal his best friend's wife. So you end up just hating both of them. After the award ceremony, Brian and Lois spend the next day together while this painfully awkward montage plays. After Peter skips out on Lois again, oh come on now! How many times are they gonna hammer this in? Yes, Peter's an asshole, we get it, but that doesn't make Brian any better! Okay. After the 1 million time this episode that Peter skips out on Lois, Lois invites Brian to a night in with her. While picking up a couple of movies for it, Brian starts to fantasize about hooking up with her and tries to talk himself out of it. But at this point, you know Brian is too weak-willed, and well...
Oh my God, Brian, no! No, stop it! What are you doing?
I can't help myself, Lois. I know you're married to Peter, but I love you and I can't stand it anymore.
Brian, no!
Oh my God, that is awkward even for Family Guy. Brian starts to instantly regret what he did, as do most of the viewers who witnessed it, and goes to the bar to get drunk. Lois tells Peter what happened and he confronts Brian.
Well, it's just, I can't help but feel a little betrayed, Brian. Lois is my wife, and, well, I mean, all the dry food I bought for you over the years?
Yeah, well, you don't deserve her, you know that?
Wait. Who the fuck are you to say he doesn't deserve her when you're no better, Brian?
Well, who the hell are you to tell me how to run my marriage? You can't even hang on to a girlfriend for more than a couple months.
What the hell is that supposed to mean?
Oh, you're a freaking train wreck with that crap, Brian.
Oh my God, I actually side with Peter. I actually side with the guy that this episode tried to villainize. That's how bad of a character Brian is. Well, Peter and Brian get into a fight until Nathan Lane breaks it up, and Brian tries to defend his actions.
When you have feelings for someone that are strong enough, you just, I don't know, lose sight of the rest of the world.
That's the dumbest excuse I've ever heard. If you had strong feelings for Lois, you wouldn't have tried to get her drunk and rape her. Yes, it's true that when you care about someone, they probably are all you can see. But if your feelings are that strong, you will be willing to put their happiness ahead of your own. It's definitely hard seeing someone you care about in an unhappy relationship, but what Peter is doing is no different than what he's done throughout the entire series. It's definitely more common in this episode, yeah, but it's nothing Lois hasn't dealt with and has clearly come to terms with. And if Brian truly cared about her like he claims he does, he would have seen that and wouldn't have tried that stunt he pulled. He doesn't love her, he lusts after her.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. That's all well and good, Peter. Now get ready. We're having dinner with my parents tonight.
Oh, right.
Anyone else notice his wounds healed? Well, Brian, of course, apologizes for what he did, and Lois reveals this.
Well, it's not like I haven't thought about it.
Really?
Once again, the episode is trying to make Brian look like the good guy, but instead, they just make Lois look like a disgusting pervert who's into bestiality.
Let me just ask you this. When these thoughts about you and I have crossed your mind, is it good?
Yeah, no, I'm done. Next one. Number 7. Screams of silence. Well, after failing to argue that there is no God, let's try and talk about the dangers of being in an abusive relationship. This will end so well. When Quagmire nearly dies from autoerotic asphyxiation, his sister Brenda visits him in the hospital with her horrifically over-the-top abusive boyfriend Jeff.
All right, on the way back, I get to pick the radio station because that was awful. Hey, you touching my girl?
Relax, Jeff. That's her brother.
Yeah, that's how it starts. Come on, Brenda. We got to get out of here. Come here. You fat, ugly bitch!
Is this believable? Like, do you really think abusive boyfriends are this out in the open with how they treat their girlfriends? Well, Quagmire understandably doesn't want Brenda dating Jeff, and tries to get her to break up with him by blaming her. I'm not even exaggerating, he flat out blames her for not being strong enough to leave him.
The person I see before me now is just a punching bag. And I call you person and not woman, because a woman is a strong, beautiful, vibrant creature. A woman embraces life. A woman makes choices to make her life better.
Okay, Quagmire, fuck you. This is your sister. You're the big brother. It's your job to protect her. It's not like you have a feeling he's abusing her or you just don't trust him. He literally punches her and screams at her right in front of you, and you just sit there and watch it. If anything, it almost looks like it's just an inconvenience to him.
Been with me 3 days now, and all he does is beat her day and night. And on top of that, they say they don't need to be entertained, but then they're always like, hey, so what are we doing? What's next?
Point proven. It's like the episode is trying to say that if you're in an abusive relationship, your family won't and doesn't have to get involved, and instead, they'll just bitch about it to their friends. To be fair, the family really doesn't have to get involved, but morally, especially as a sibling, you should try and be there for them, either by actually convincing them that they're better than this, or by standing up to the abuser for them. And Quagmire's intervention doesn't count, because he doesn't try to talk her out of it by building her up. In fact, what he's doing is a form of psychological abuse, meaning he's just as bad as Jeff. Over the top or not, he's abusing her mentally the same way Jeff is abusing her physically. Peter asks Quagmire if Joe can have him arrested, but Joe says he can't because she needs to file a complaint. That is not true either. Domestic abuse can be reported by the family of the victim, and the police can step in. The victim doesn't need to be the one to file it.
Sorry, Quagmire. Police policy, we can't step in until it's too late.
Yeah, cops. What are they good for, am I right? But not only does this episode fall flat in its attempts to get the legal ramifications of how cops deal with abuse right, it also fails in its attempts to teach people about abuse and how it works. Instead of showing potential signs that she's being abused, the episode feels it's easier to just flat out show it, clear cut in front of everyone, as well as showing the victim being portrayed as just a weak-willed individual who will sit back and take it.
I know, yeah, it was. I'm sorry.
If this episode wanted to get this right, they would have shown Jeff acting completely normal in person, beating Brenda behind closed doors, and even saying things to her that'll keep her quiet about her abuse and willing to hide it from everyone. Anyway, Jeff ends up proposing to Brenda, which she accepts. So Quagmire decides that the best way to handle this is to murder Jeff.
Whoa, Quagmire. You know I could arrest you just for saying that.
Oh, so you can arrest him for saying he wants to kill someone, but you can't arrest an abuser who you flat out seen treat her in ways that no cop would ever allow. When did Joe become so worthless? Well, the guys, Joe included by the way, hear and actually see Brenda getting smacked for changing the channel, and the guys rush over.
Get your lazy ass up and get my neighbors some beer!
That's enough right there. That's enough for a cop to arrest him.
Actually, we don't have time, Jeff. We were just about to go on our annual midnight hunting trip. We thought you might want to join us.
Oh, you fucking worthless pig.
It doesn't matter what he's done, it's still murder.
Well, the guys, of course, go through with their plan and kill Jeff. And Quagmire writes Brenda a fake note from Jeff saying he's leaving her.
P.S. If the cops ask, tell them that Joe, Peter, and Quagmire were with you last night. If you tell anyone otherwise, I will come back and not only hit you, but I will murder you. And no one will care because you're garbage.
Oh my god, you know, this episode is not anywhere near accurate to how abuse works. Everything about it is so far off the mark or so over the top that it's clear not a single person on this writing staff knew anything about abuse or how it works. And they were only trying to make a character so hateful that everyone would be too happy when he was killed to care. What a fucking fail. Number 6. Fresh air. Okay, I want you to take a moment and think about the most uncomfortable moments of your life. What would they be? Because whatever they are, I guarantee they won't be as uncomfortable as the full 20 minutes of this episode. You've been warned. In Fresh Air, Chris tries to get Peter to spend time with him, which Peter very cruelly tells him he doesn't want to.
But you promised we'd go fishing.
Chris, I was just lying to you so you'd go away. But if you leave me alone now, I'll give you $1 billion.
You've got a deal.
Peter, you know, it might help Chris to be able to spend some time with his father.
Well, what's in it for old Pete?
He's your son. Don't you want someone to bond with?
Okay, I want you to remember what Brian just said, because I'm going to reference this later. But basically, Brian has no reason to say this to Peter when he himself is just as bad. Anyway, Lois's mother calls to tell her that her father, Carter, broke his leg. Apparently acting like a child and needs someone to... Oh my god, you can see the bone! Oh! Okay. Carter breaks his leg and needs someone to look after him because his wife is doing a shoe for... Oh my fucking god, get that off screen! Oh god, this is gonna hurt. Where was I? Oh yeah. Lois tries to get Meg to watch Carter, which Meg declines. So she goes to ask Chris. Chris is distraught by his father's lack of love for him, and Lois, the caring mother that she is, coaxes Chris into watching Carter.
You know, Chris, you've got a grandpa who could use your help right now. I'm sure he'd enjoy spending time with you.
Okay, I'll give it a shot.
You're not going to kill yourself, are you? That would be a severe black mark on my record as a mom.
Oh, lady, you have no idea how black that record is. Anyway, while Chris is taking care of Carter, Carter expresses anger because he can't have sex, and apparently he's never heard about masturbation.
Let me show you something.
That was amazing!
Did Chris just teach his grandpa how to masturbate?
Cool! Hey, next time I want to try it with my hand.
Oh my god. Let's just get this over with, because this episode is trying to smush in as much awkward, disgusting imagery as possible. After Chris's visit, Carter makes Chris his sole heir to inherit his estate, much to everyone's shock.
Oh no, my hairless twin got out!
Wait, you're what? Oh my god, what the fuck is that?
Hello, family. Let's eat all the garbage we want.
Oh god, please get Jabba the Pale off screen, I beg you. Oh, thank god. Anyway, Brian comes in and tries to tell Carter what to do with his money in a very awkward way.
You know, I'm just saying, if it were me, I would give all the money to charity.
Oh yeah? Which charity?
Well, there are just so many that do such great work.
Name just one.
Make-A-Wish.
You know, poor green whale guns books.
You are such a fraud.
Thank you, Carter. Glad someone else notices it.
Why won't anyone help us?
Oh, fuck you! Peter, jealous of Chris's inheritance, comes up with the plan to get Chris's money.
So if you ask me, we gotta start sucking up to Chris right away.
Or you could just spend time with him like a father should. Oh my god, what the hell did you do?
That's the deaf kid!
Oh, that was sign language. I thought he was trying to defend himself with terrible karate.
Oh god, this is gonna be the death of me. I'm only halfway through this, for Christ's sakes. Can this get any more disturbing?
Chris, there comes a time when every man looks at his son and thinks, I want to take this to the next level.
What?
Chris Griffin, will you marry me?
I need a moment, if you'll excuse me.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Tired of watching the horrible new episodes of Family Guy? Tired of the disgusting jokes, the awkward moments, the offensive topics, the killing of what made these characters so likable? Then come watch seasons 1 through 3 of Family Guy. The seasons that were so good, they brought the show back from the dead. The seasons where Brian was lovable, Stewie was evil, Peter was hilarious, Lois was tolerable, and Chris and Meg were normal kids. You'll see the introduction of great side characters like the chicken, greased up deaf guy, and more. The season that knew how to make dark jokes work.
Oh my god! She's dead!
Whoa! Careful what you wish for, huh, Lois?
That didn't need to focus on an offensive topic to be funny. That knew how to make idiots lovable. And that actually made a dysfunctional family funny. Order now, and we'll also throw in seasons 4 through 7, minus Play It Again Brian, which includes more lovable characters like Bruce and Herbert the Pervert. Family Guy, seasons 1 through 3. Order now on Netflix. Alright, I'm back. Let's continue.
We'll just be like best pals. And besides, there's plenty of people who are married and don't have sex.
Well, at least he has no intentions of plowing his son.
Holy whack-a-zole.
Wait, what? Is he a pedophile who wants to fuck his son now? Make up your mind! Oh god, fuck it, I'm skipping ahead. The wedding plan fails, Chris gives a long-winded speech about how he just wanted to spend time with his dad, yada yada yada. Cut to the next episode, please! Ah!
Close the door!